Hi there guys, it's Alex here from Alex and Mateo Estate Agents. Hope you're all doing well. I'm here and joined by Stuart.
Hello.
Which is the founder of Adams Kaye Property Lawyers. We are here to obviously have a bit of a chat about leases. What on earth is a lease?
I wish I knew. It's a very good question. A lease is a very it's a very useful document. It's a very useful deed. People think leasehold, freehold. Why I'm buying this apartment? Do I need a lease? What exactly does a lease do? And it's a multi-purpose, and it has many benefits. When you think about an apartment block, and you've got people quite literally living above you, beneath you,
yeah,
to
exactly.
the side
They're
of you.
right next to you, aren't they?
It's a wall book, and it gives you some protections, some comforts, but it also has various restrictions, things you cannot do, things you should not do. For example, when I bought my apartment a few years ago, I was very limited on the flats that I could buy, because many of them say no pets.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of them may say no pets except with consent. So I could take a dog or a cat into the flat, but I couldn't take a horse.
Yeah, exactly. And that probably happens a hell of a lot in sort of London as well.
Oh yes, you do see lots of horses around.
But yeah, no, I think more than anything as well, it's these restrictions are some things that people do not know about as well.
I think certainly for people that are not used to buying apartments in London, and you've got to think that the majority of property, certainly within the capital, where there's not much space except to go up, that the majority will be leaseholds.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got many things to consider within a lease. You've got to consider how long the lease is. You want to be sure there's a long lease. You want to be sure of your financial contributions, service charges. You might find a house which has been converted into 2 flats, and the expenditure, the outgoings, might be very low because it's very low maintenance. But you look at some of these apartment blocks, some of these quite new ones that have gone up, they have many facilities. They have concierge 24 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They have lifts. Lifts are very, very expensive things to maintain and to buy. There might be gyms, there might be other things. And
so they have a lot of sort of amenities that are obviously inclusive into the block. Anyway.
And then these are things that the clients need to consider at the early stages. So they might be able to get a mortgage, might meet the affordability, their budget might be able to buy it, but then they might not be able to afford £3,000-4,000 a year in service charge. So these are all the things they need to know at the outset, I would say.
So obviously now we've found a client, and obviously hypothetically if the client has found sort of a dog-friendly sort of property.
Or horse-friendly.
Or horse-friendly, exactly. What would be the next sort of process after that, or next steps?
The next step is both the seller and the buyer need to engage their own lawyer to act for both of them. The entire process, I always say the entire process from start to finish, from the start of your offer being accepted to the point of getting the keys and moving in, on average you're talking about 6 to 8 weeks start to finish. During that process we do our due diligence. We do our due diligence on the client. Money laundering is a very hot topic.
I was going to say.
Identity fraud, mortgage fraud, all of these things, the seller's lawyer, the buyer's lawyer will check all of these things for the protection of everybody. Then contract papers would be issued, we would undertake various searches at the local authority, we'd raise inquiries on the lease, we'd raise inquiries on the title, any that are necessary. During that time, during that process, other things will be going on in the wings. The buyer will be arranging for a mortgage, and there would be a mortgage valuation, and then the mortgage offer would be issued, and then when all of the due diligence is done, we're all good to go. The crystallising moment is exchange of contracts. That's when everybody is legally bound into the transaction. Up until that point, either party, seller or buyer, can walk away without any penalty, and that obviously leaves a window for other problems to happen, and you'll have a gap of about a week, maybe 2, between exchange and completion. And that's pretty much the whole
So the whole shebang with
shebang.
sort of everything else as well.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you again, obviously, for taking your time out today, Stuart. And honestly, this has definitely helped me, and I hope, obviously, it's helped everybody else as well.
Of course.
And yeah, thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.